Welcome to the pulse of our industry.
Palscom Speaks.
Service contracting stories start today.
People, policy, practice.
Leading the professional way.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to Palscon Speaks, the podcast.
With every single stride, integrity is flowing like a rising tide. We bridge the gap where the workforce meets the aim. PALSCON is the name. The leading voice for the industry's fame.
This is your official platform where the voices behind the service contracting industry are heard, understood, and elevated. In an industry often misunderstood, we bring you closer to the truth through real stories, grounded policies, and best practices that define what it means to be a legitimate service contractor. Because at Palscon, we believe in one thing, one voice, one principle, one industry. Welcome to our first episode entitled Redefining Work, the Truth About Service Contracting. With us today are the members of Palscon themselves who support Palscon's mission, vision, and its advocacies. Here with us today is one of the past presidents of Palscon National, and she is also the president and CEO of Executive Genesis Services Incorporated. We have Ms. Rhoda Castro Caliwara. Also, we have the president for operations of Rias Manpower and General Services Incorporated and a board of trustee of Palscon South Luzon chapter, Ms. Maria Riza Garcia. Next is also a board of trustee of Palscon National and the president and COO of Romac Services and Training Company Incorporated, Mr. Lorenzo P. Consulta. Another board of trustee from Palscon National and president and general manager of Tomodachi Global Resources Incorporated, Mr. Adrian D. Flores. Last but not the least, we have another board of trustee of Palscon National and the managing director of CZG Staffing Resources Agency Corporation, Mr. Lester A. Javier. Good day, mga fellow Kapalskonians! Magandang araw sa inyong lahat. Kumusta po ang lahat? Sir Adrian, Ma'am Lisa, thank you for coming here to this first episode of Palscon Speaks all the way from South Luzon chapter. Maraming salamat. And of course, Sir Enzo, mula sa Norte, maraming salamat for coming to this first episode of Palscon Speaks. And of course, ang ating mga mate from the NCR region, Sir Lester.
Hello.
And of course, ang ating isa sa mga pillars ng Palscon, Ma'am Rhoda. Kumusta po, Ma'am Rhoda?
From the Republic of Quezon City.
Wow.
Kung sila galing ng South Luzon, galing ng North Luzon, from the Republic of Quezon City.
Oo. Where the smiles are most beautiful, no?
Nilaban talaga namin.
Ang gagwapo, ang gaganda. Maraming salamat po for attending this first ever episode of Palscon Speaks, the podcast. I'm very excited to hear from all of you about the service contracting. Siyempre, alam ko na yan, diba? Lahat tayo alam natin yan. But of course, ang ating public, ang ating viewers, we wanna educate them better, diba? What the beauty that we have here at the service contracting industry. Diba? Kasi it is really helpful, may mga natatanging ganda at benepisyo talaga ang service contracting industry sa ating ekonomiya.
Yes.
Now, I know you will all agree with me. So for our first question, I'd like to address this to Ma'am Rhoda. For our viewers and listeners out there, can you briefly explain what legitimate service contracting is and how it benefits the businesses, workers, and of course, the Philippine economy?
Okay, first and foremost, I'd like to thank you for having us here in this podcast. Congratulations to Palscon for coming up with a podcast like this. Okay, going back to the question, ano ba ang service contracting? Service contract, legitimate. Lagyan natin ng legitimate. At i-emphasize natin, yung legitimate service contracting. It is a lawful business arrangement wherein ang isang company or tinatawag nating principal, ina-outsource niya ang mga services, yung mga jobs, na ayaw na nilang gawin. Hindi naman sa ayaw, pero alam mo yun, these companies sometimes want to focus on their core competency. That's why they'd rather outsource yung mga serbisyo, mga ibang functions sa isang service contractor na kagaya natin. Okay. At ang legitimate service contracting ay under sa mga laws, okay, especially sa Labor Code of the Philippines. So it's legitimate. Kaya ito ay hindi dapat ipagbawal at hindi dapat kutyain, hindi dapat alisin. Right? Dahil ito ay nakakatulong, as you mentioned, ano ba yung nagagawa ng illegitimate service contracting sa mga principals. As I said earlier, ang mga kumpanya, ang mga principals na tinatawag natin could focus on their core competency para maging mas lalo silang competitive, mas lalo silang maging productive. Right? At economical on their part. Hindi siya reduction of cost, but rather, as I said, imbes na gagawa pa sila sa recruitment, sila pa yung mag-hire, sila pa yung magpa-process ng mga payroll ng mga tao, gagawin na yan ng mga service contractors. And most especially, yung control over the employees. Dahil ang mga employees na dinideploy natin to render the service are mga empleyado ng isang service contractor.
Speaking about those functions, Rhoda, can you give us a few of those services na ina-outsource sa inyo?
One of the most common na services na binibigyan ng mga service contractors sa mga principals ay yung janitorial services. Aside from that, may mga tao tayo sa manufacturing, meron tayo sa retail, right? As I mentioned, the real objective of this kind of arrangement is that yung mga ating mga principals could focus on their core competency. Meaning, kapag nagpo-produce sila ng sabon or whatever products, okay, they could focus on research and development while other functions could be outsourced sa mga ibang companies like the service contractors. So, it could be retail, it could be some manufacturing, it could be janitorial, administrative, and so many other services that we could possibly provide sa ating mga principals.
Even the management of warehouse, no?
That's right. That's right. Logistics.
Yeah, logistics.
That's right.
Okay. So, alam naman natin, no? Nabanggit, the legitimate service contracting, yun yung na-describe ngayon ni Rhoda. Okay. So, pag sinabi natin legitimate, bakit ba merong illegitimate? When you speak about illegitimate, ito ba yung mga labor-only contractors?
Alam mo, ang lawak ng labor-only contractor. I'd rather siguro i-set apart yung mga legitimate service contractors from the fly-by-night. Okay, ng mga contractors. At marami yan, nagkalat yan. Noon, ang mga 2010, I think, that was 2010, noong ang set of regulations ay 2018-8 pa ata noon. Okay. Marami ang mga service contractors in the Philippines. Nasa 22,000 yan.
Yeah.
Okay. And it was drastically reduced to 5,000 mahigit noong 2015. Hanggang dumating si DO-174. Ang DO-174 series of 2017, ito yung set of regulations governing yung industry ng service contracting or outsourcing. So, ngayon siguro nasa 2,000 mahigit na lang ang service contracting as contractors dahil sa mga fly-by-night na unti-unting nalalagas na hindi na makatawid sa mga regulations, sa mga provisions ng DO-174.
Okay. So talagang nakikita natin yung efforts of the government to trim down
Yes.
yung mawala yung mga fly-by-night.
And if I may add lang din, kasi bakit nga ba naging fly-by-night ang tawag sa kanila? Ito yung mga unang-una hindi sila registered. Hindi sila yung ang 174 na tinatawag natin, ito yung ito yung registration na kailangan na maging legitimate ka. Napaka-basic yon. You should be 174 or D174 registered. Second, hindi nagbibigay ng tamang sahod at benepisyo. So, kumbaga, kung tayo na legitimate service contracting contractors, I should say, ay nagbibigay ng disente at di kalidad na trabaho. Yun ay opposite naman ng ginagawa ng mga fly-by-night. Kung minsan nagiging middleman na lang sila.
So meaning, having the legitimate ones and the fly-by-nights, medyo nagiging magulo nga, no? Na kaya nagkaroon ng mixed opinions ang ating mga publiko. Of course, di ba? Na kaya yung iba akala, porque service contracting, lahat yan, oppressors, di ba? Without knowing na merong mga lehitimo. Meron din namang mga fly-by-night na. So, kay Sir Enzo, many people hear the term service contracting, no? Alam naman natin, yun nga, we just heard it. And nasabi ko nga na when we speak about service contracting, there are really mixed opinions on that. So, Enzo, what are the real advantages of legitimate service contracting in the Philippines today, in your own opinion?
In my opinion, actually, Rhoda mentioned a while ago, it's the flexibility when it comes to the ease of doing business, because the companies can focus on their core competencies. But they can do it in a way without compromising or endangering the welfare and the salaries and the benefits of the workforce, because you have a third party who is managing them. Plus, this third party upskills these employees that gives them a striking chance, so that the global market can take notice of their skills and their abilities. And it can also help workers from the informal sector transition into the formal sector.
Oo, no? Talagang napakalaking tulong talaga ng service contracting sa ating mga negosyo sa Pilipinas. No? And globally na rin, no?
And to add also, it adds to the global competitiveness of the workforce that we have here. So when investors come in, they can see the quality of the workforce that we have. So it can attract more investors to invest in our country.
Oo, so that puts us talagang competitive, no? Ang dami nating neighboring countries na talagang noon ngayon umaangat ang competitiveness. So you're saying na with the legitimate service contractors, natutulungan natin ang mga Pilipino to be level, di ba? Or to be competitive with amongst our neighboring countries.
Yes.
And to have more jobs being generated
Yes.
in the Philippines.
Okay. So thank you, Enzo. Now, you spoke about an optimistic point of view about legitimate service contracting. Rhoda mentioned about the fly-by-night kanina. So nakikita na natin, no, there is beauty dito sa legitimate service contracting. So I'd like to throw this question to Riza. In your own point of view, what is the beauty of service contracting when it is done legally, ethically, and in compliance with labor standards?
Yeah, Maricar, for me, we are already in a very beautiful and blessed industry. For me, because we are in a situation wherein parang we practice a beautiful form of mutualism. Mutualism meaning all the parties involved, they benefit. The employees benefits because they were given jobs. We as contractors, we benefit as business owners. And also, the principals, they benefit because they reach their targets. More so, and ideally, this is who we are naman who we are already. The legitimate service contractors, we serve in compliance with the law. So I think if we will comply with the labor standards of the Philippines, I think this will provide a positive and a stronger reputation for our industry. Parang it's a win-win situation for me because the misconception of the fly-by-nights of the ENDO and the 555, I think this will be terminated if we will be compliantly
Doing
business, something like that. And, if compliantly we do our business, this will lead to a trust. This will build trust that will build lasting relationships with our partners.
And
Diba?
after all, it's our advocacy, di ba? To
This
do
is who we are
business.
na talaga
Yes.
dapat That's what we should do.
Yeah, advancing legitimate service contracting, compliance with the
Yes.
labor standards, protecting the Filipino
Yes.
workers. Yun naman talaga.
Yun naman
Yun
talaga.
ang existence
That's
talaga
what we are.
natin.
Yeah, diba?
That's our essence.
So ideally talaga, that's who we are. We are legitimate service contractors who, that's it, compliant with all the labor standards. That's it.
And I think generally rin naman, no, I know you will all agree with me, kapag talagang you do things ng malinis ang konsensya mo, compliant ka, legal ang ginagawa mo, may peace of mind ka. And that's what we all want naman, di ba?
That's true.
Peace of mind, makatulong, at saka makatulog tayo ng mapayapa dahil wala tayong niloloko. Di ba?
Totoo.
Oo. Okay. Ang ganda-ganda naman ng ating usapan ngayon. I want to ask Lester naman this time, no? How do legitimate service contractors help create jobs, develop skills, and provide opportunities for Filipino workers?
Well, legitimate service contractors, or should I say Palscon na, no? So, we really play a critical role in terms of job creation. Kasi, we provide structured, compliant, and sustainable employment opportunities. Not just only that, we see to it that they are properly hired, yung mga tao yan. At the same time, we give the full statutory benefits such as the SSS Pag-ibig. And beyond employment, in terms of the skills that we wanted na mabigyan talaga sila, we see to it may improvement, may progress yung mga tao. And at the same time, through with that skills, we do the reskilling, the upskilling. So it's not just only job providing, but of course, building careers for these workers that we have. And at the same time, most importantly, the legitimate contractors, we uphold decent work standards, such as by fair wages, yung mga ganyan, and we are giving also a safe working environment for them. So it's not just we're giving jobs, but of course we are creating a dignified, stable, and future-ready opportunities for the Filipino workers.
So it's...
Can I just add to
Yes,
that?
go ahead.
Ang service contracting is providing, kumbaga, tayo yung bridge.
Yes.
Diba? We provide trainings. We provide experience.
True.
Okay. So aside from yung upskill natin, reskilling and all, yung mga galing sa school, bridge natin sila sa na magkaroon ng trabaho.
From education to employment.
That's right.
Oo. I also want to add, di ba, sa Palscon, tayo, we do not only provide one job di ba? Yung structure kasi, minsan may mga principal, mga kumpanyang nagsasara, nalugi ang business. For an instance na halimbawa tayo may deployed workers doon, tapos nag-close yung principal, there is a chance na ilipat natin, di ba? Sa ibang deployment or ibang principal. And that is, for me, security of tenure. But secured nga yun, di ba?
Exactly.
And we also provide separation pay naman, just in case, di ba, na wala talagang mapaglipatan. There is separation.
Kahit malipat man sila, nare-regular pa din.
Yeah, they are our regular employees in the first place. At saka yung sinasabi mo kanina, Maricar, no, na yung kapag nagsara, kahit na hindi na, nagsara ang isang company, yung kasi di ba may tinatawag na seasonality,
Yes.
di ba? So may mga seasons na talagang walang trabaho. So anong ginagawa kapag directly hired sila? This is the beauty, in addition to the beauty ng service contracting. Pwede silang, okay, tanggalin na lang. Kasi wala kaming mapaglalagyan, wala kaming trabaho na ibibigay. And that's so reasonable and valid reason not to keep them, right? Dahil nga walang trabaho. So anong ginagawa kapag nandyan ang service contractors sa picture, tayo ang naghahanap ng trabaho para sa kanila.
Exactly.
So, dahil sa meron tayong pool of mga principals na pinagsisilbihan, right? Na we do business with. So, hinahanapan natin sila ng mga trabaho sa ibang kumpanya. So, in that sense, hindi sila pwedeng mawalan ng trabaho. Right? So, that is very, very important na ginagawa ng isang service contractor.
Actually, the beauty talaga, no? Ang nagbe-benefit talaga lahat, no? Everyone in the relationship, ika nga. Not only the principals, not only the employees, but as well as the government. Imagine, Roda, yung mga displaced workers, di ba? Pag wala yung service contractor sa picture, natanggal sa trabaho, problema na naman yan ng lipunan, problema ng gobyerno. Di ba? Maghahanap na naman yan
And
ng
I think we don't have enough funds naman para dole out, right? Oo. And another thing, in addition lang din sa sinabi kanina ni Enzo on the global competitiveness ng Philippines kapag merong ganitong industriya, is yung mga investors na alam nila na ang Philippines is flexible. O kaya, balik na rin natin, ang Pilipinas hindi sila flexible. So maghanap tayo ng ibang ng countries na pumapayag sa service contracting, pumapayag sa outsourcing. Let's go to Vietnam. Let's go to Thailand.
Yeah.
So kapag walang investors dito sa Pilipinas, walang mga investments, no jobs that would be created.
Exactly. Sabi ko nga kanina, Roda, di ba, competitive na rin.
Yeah.
Kasi dati we used to be a better in terms of skills,
Yes.
di ba, capabilities, capacities. Mas magaling ang Pilipino sa neighboring countries natin. Pero ngayon, they are already capacitated, capable, nag-level up na rin talaga in terms of skills, no? Kaya threat na rin talaga sa atin ang neighboring countries natin. Sa kanila, pwede, lehitimo ang pag-outsource. So, pag sa Pilipinas tinanggal yon, it will really put us behind.
To also
Yes,
add on that, especially with regard to the skill. The difference between a legitimate service contractor and a fly-by-night.
Fly-by-night.
The fly-by-night, nagsusupply lang yan ng tao.
Yes.
Parang wala siyang aftercare.
Mm.
Ilalagay lang dyan, pagkakitaan niya, tapos
Nagiging middleman.
nagiging middle.
Yan yung tinatawag na kabo.
Tama.
The difference with a legitimate service contractor, you have to care for the employee day by day. Why? You're not offering the principal people. You're offering them a service.
Yes.
Pag hindi mo inalagaan yung tao, you will not be able to offer the proper service.
Correct.
Exactly. And besides, tatanggalin tayo ng principal pag di mo na alam.
Wala.
Kasi that's our essence. Kaya in-outsource sa atin yung service, dapat mag-perform tayo. We should measure not only yung attendance ng tao natin, di ba? We should also measure the performance, the output, di ba? Hindi dapat napapabayaan. We hire.
That's why nakaset na yung deliverables.
Exactly. And on the context, kasi kanina pa natin pinag-uusapan ng legitimate service contracting. I agree with Lester when he said na, hindi, PALSCON na lang. Sabihin na natin PALSCON, di ba? Yung legitimate lang naman talaga, as we know, di ba? Si PALSCON, kasi we police our ranks sa PALSCON. So we could really say the legitimate ones are in PALSCON. Okay? So now, actually, this question was already asked, no, to Roda kanina. Medyo naging maganda na yung kwentuhan. Pero I'd like to dig in further. Ano ba talaga yung mga nagagawa ng illegal labor contractors? Bakit sila natawag na illegal? Comparing with sa atin, sa PALSCON.
Nagpapayak sila ng mga empleyado. Hindi nagbibigay ng tamang sahod. Hindi nagbibigay ng tamang benepisyo. At nagtatago yung mga yan. Walang mga opisina dahil hindi registered.
At nagpapalit ng pangalan.
Pangalan.
Tsaka yung capitalization nila.
That's right.
The capitalization is not like that of a legitimate service contractor. Kuwari tayo. Bago tayo maningil, magpapasweldo muna tayo.
Yes, exactly.
Ngayon, ang sure ball dyan, yung sweldo. Hindi nga sure yung singil mo.
Yes.
So, minsan i-transfer mo sa nagpapasweldo ka, hindi ka nakakasingil. And yet, yung mga benefits, yung mga, yung sweldo mo, hindi na delay. Ang isang fly-by-night ay hindi magsusurvive sa gabi. Kasi hindi siya capitalized.
Exactly. Oo, sa taas ng capitalization.
And that is a requirement.
Isa sa requirements.
Sa mga requirements natin para maging legal at maging legitimate, you need to have sufficient capital. Tapos may control ka over your employees. That's very, very important. And one factor.
So, sa mga nasabi natin ngayon, no, is it good to say na hindi na natin talaga kailangan ng panibagong batas na mag-govern ng service industry? Kasi meron naman na tayong Labor Code of the Philippines Articles 106 to 109. Meron tayong DO 174. At ang DOLE, very active, no? Sa pagpupulis sa atin, pag-inspection. Kayo ba nakakaranas ng regular inspection from DOLE?
Yes.
Meron.
At napaka-stringent na ng ating mga regulations. So, kumbaga, mahirap nang kumuha ng registration, ha?
Yes.
Kung gusto mong maging service contractor, hindi basta-basta dahil, as mentioned kanina, medyo mataas na ang ating capitalization na requirement. And then, ang daming mga requirements, right? Registration fees pa lang, nagtaas na rin. At saka, sa dami na rin ng mga amendments na ginawa sa mga set of regulations governing yung ating industriya, marami na rin na weed out na mga illegal, na mga fly-by-night. Kaya nga, na-mention ko rin kanina, from 22,000 before, down to 5,000 mahigit, and then now to nasa 2,000 plus. Right? So, wala nang endo, wala nang 555. Outlawed na yon ng matagal.
Kaya dun sa 2,000 na yon, 'di ba? Meron dong PALSCON.
Of course.
'Di ba? May magandang porsyento ang PALSCON sa 2,000 na yan. And ngayon, I have another question addressed to Adrian. Having PALSCON doon sa 2,000 na yon, why is it important for companies to partner only with accredited or compliant organizations such as PALSCON members?
For me, partnering with companies like in PALSCON, hindi ka lang nakikipag-partner basta sa business eh. You're partnering, you're gaining your peace of mind. Kasi sa PALSCON or sa legitimate service contractors na katulad natin, yung mga nabibigay natin sa kanila, sa partners natin, ay iwas sa mga legal complaints. Tinatrato natin ng maayos ang mga empleyado na nabanggit na rin kanina, yung mga benepisyo at yung salary on time.
We protect the
We
welfare.
protect the welfare. And at the end of the day, actually, partnering with PALSCON is you're gaining, we are giving the quality, integrity, at magandang benepisyo para sa ating mga empleyado. I think that's what.
Yes.
In other words lang, kung gusto mo ng peace of mind, partner with PALSCON members.
Tama yan. Kanina, Roda, you mentioned na from 22,000, naging 5,000, naging 2,000 ang service contractors because of the effort, of course, ng DOLE, di ba, na ma-mitigate talaga yung mga fly-by-night.
That's right.
Okay. So, pero despite these reforms, yung ENDO, at yung tinatawag na 555 practices, there are still concerns. Naririnig ko pa rin talaga sila ngayon. So how can PALSCON help the government in eliminating these practices or abusive practices na tinatawag nila?
Okay. Mga fly-by-night contractors ngayon, talagang malaki na yung naibawas talaga, no? Na-weed out na, actually, na-weed out na. Ang maraming illegitimate, unethical na mga service contractors. Pero, okay, sa usaping ENDO at saka 555, ano nga ba yung ENDO? Ano nga ba yung 555 na tinatawag? Di ba? For sure, marami sa mga kababayan natin na hindi pa rin alam kung ano ba yung ENDO, ano ba yung 555. Especially mga Gen Z siguro ngayon. Right? Kasi napapanahonan ng mga ENDO 555 noong ilang dekada natin. Di ba?
Back in the days pa.
Medyo na-outlaw na lang siya noong mga 2016, 2017, 2018. Pagpasok ng DO 174 na tinatawag natin. Okay, yung ENDO muna, i-define muna natin. Ano ba yung tinatawag nilang ENDO? Ito yung after ilang months? 6 months? Di ba? Bago yung probationary period, di ba? 6 months. So, bago mag-end yung probationary period na 6 months, ini-endo na yung kontrata ng tao. At uso yan dati, dahil lalo na nung may mga court terminus pa tayo noon, di ba? Sa mga tao, sa principal.
Sa principal.
Di ba? Kapag natapos natin ang kontrata natin sa principal, tapos na rin. Okay? Pero, yung endo na tinatawag is even prior to yung ating expiration ng contract with the principal. Before mag 6 months, yung tao, dahil ma-regularize na siya, after the 6 months. So, ini-end na yung contract. Kaya yun yung endo na tinatawag.
End of contract.
End of contract. That's right. Yung 555 naman is every 5 months, dahil na may endo, ni-renew yung kontrata. Every 5 months. 5 months. 5 months. Kaya 555. Hindi ko to yung sardinas. Okay. So, yun ang tinatawag na endo at 555. At malaki ang bagay or malaking bagay yung mga efforts ng gobyerno, lalong-lalo na sa nabanggit mo nga, Maricar, na ginawa ng Department of Labor and Employment. That's why malaking bagay din yung paglalabas ng 174, DO 174 noong 2017 dahil talagang pinagbawal ang ENDO at 555. Kapag meron pa man na lumalabas na mga, okay, meron pa rin ENDO and 555 and still a concern, then katigasan na talaga ng ulo ng mga service contractors na yon.
Na fly-by-night.
Actually, yeah, hindi lang mga fly-by-night, kahit yung mga rehistrado kung minsan kasi. Kaya ang nangyayari, pati yung mga legitimately into service contracting ay nadadamay. Okay, pero as I said, malaking efforts ang ginawa ng gobyerno. So, anong gagawin ng PulseCon? Let's continue promoting legitimate service contracting. At tayo mismo, as you mentioned, ipulis natin ang ranks natin.
Yes.
So kapag may alam tayo sa mga kasamahan natin, lalong-lalo na kapag members ng PulseCon, na sana naman ay wala, di ba? Patuloy natin, ipagpatuloy natin yung mga programa natin. Like pagkakaroon ng mga ikapihan, ng mga usapin during GMM, yung pag-exchange ng mga best practices, sana ituloy natin yun para unti-unti talaga ma-eliminate yung mga unethical na practices.
Tama. So, after what Rhoda said, no, I have a follow-up question. Pero this time, kay Lester ko i-address, no? So, Lester, what programs, apart from what Rhoda said kanina, ano pa? Programa, expertise, partnership, ano pa ba ang kayang ibigay ng PulseCon sa ating gobyerno, specifically sa Department of Labor and Employment, in promoting lawful employment practices?
Well, DOLE is a strong partner na talaga ang PulseCon ever since. No? And by aligning the industry practices, also with the government regulations and national labor goals, first, yung can lead to compliance education programs na binibigay. It's helping both contractors and client companies fully understand and implement labor laws correctly, no? But of course, in this line, re-reduce mo yung mga violations and legal risk on this one. And second, through with the network of the PulseCon that we know before na parang it brings industry expertise and real-time insights, which can help the DOLE to craft more responsive and practical policies. And the third one, yung pag-strengthen ng public-private partnerships that we have, such as mga joint inspections, yung mga accreditations, and worker welfare initiatives. So, ultimately, PulseCon, as what Ma'am Rhoda said kanina, no, it acts as the bridge connecting the government, the business, and the workers, which the lawful employment becomes the standard. It is not an exception.
Ang ganda ng pagkakasabi, no? I love hearing it from Rhoda, from Lester, kasi parang kung ako yung principal, nabibuild yung trust, di ba? Nagkakaroon ako ng confidence with PulseCon. Pero, syempre, it's not only those, no? Yung mga nasabi nilang dalawa. I want to hear more from Adrian na what roles does this ethical leadership and self-regulation play among PulseCon members in maintaining trust in the industry?
For me, ethical leadership and self-regulation, yun yung pinakamalaking foundation ng trust sa industry natin. Kasi inaasahan natin lahat ng sabi na PulseCon member or lahat ng legitimate contractors are sumusunod sa batas. May makataong trato sa ating mga workers. At higit sa lahat, meron tayong accountability. With that, panigurado, makikita ito ng ating mga partners or clients na dito mag-uumpisa ang long-term relationship and sustainability and stability ng ating business.
Well said. Thank you for that. Alam nyo, itong first episode natin ng PulseCon Speaks, kung ako yung viewer, I already had that clear vision of who PulseCon is, of what service contracting is, and I want to do better. Kung ako yung ako yung principal, I want to do better and contribute more sa ekonomiya ng Pilipinas by tapping PulseCon members lang, no? Pero syempre, I am not the principal. I'm also a service contractor, a member of PulseCon. Kaya Ngayon, bago natin tapusin itong ating first episode ng Palscon Speaks, do you have any message sa mga kagaya nating lahat na membro ng Palscon, or to our viewers, to our workers, to the government, to our principals, diba? Message, call to action, anything that you can say to them as we end this first episode of Palscon Speaks. Let me start with, I'd like to start with Sir Adrian. Ganun tayo, I'll end up with Rhoda.
Okay, sa lahat ng legitimate dyan, na kiniklaim nila na legitimate, be a member of PALSCON. And sa lahat ng mga aplikante, please choose lahat ng legitimate and PALSCON member para makasama nyo kami sa journey nyo, mabigay namin ang tamang path para sa inyo, hindi lang sa trabaho, pati sa kabuhayan nyo. That's all for me.
Thank you. How about you, Riza?
Yeah, for me, the key ingredient lang of our industry is really compliance. Everything else will follow if we really comply with the labor standards, with the law and everything. Compliance to our people, compliance to our own organization, compliance to our principal, everything good will follow after that. So I really believe in that.
Thank you. Compliance is the key. After all, yun ang very essence natin, diba? Compliance.
Yeah.
How about you, Enzo?
With me naman, my message is to fellow service contractors. It is to take a stand when it comes to compliance. I'm sure some of us have experienced biddings na ang kasama mo fly by night. Alam mo naman,
Yeah.
pag ganyan, mas bababa yung presyo nila because compliance comes with a cost.
Yes.
But your credibility does not come with a price.
Tama. Credibility, no? It doesn't come with a price. Tama naman. Like what we said kanina, peace of mind. The same thing. It doesn't come with a price. Diba? How about you?
Well,
Lester?
I have a simple message lang with that. Outsourcing is only as good as the partner you choose. So, meaning that when you work with a legitimate service contractor, or let's say PALSCON na mismo, you're not just delegating your tasks, but you are protecting your business as well. So, definitely, ang masasabi ko lang, you choose PALSCON.
Yes, choose Palscon. Protect your workers, protect your business, protect your principals, and protect the nation. Diba? Yun ang ating ina-advocate. And how about you naman? Of course, save the best for last. Rhoda.
All right, everything has been said, right? Lahat, legitimacy, compliance, ang galing. For me, one last point lang siguro is to go back to the question, especially in everything we do, especially doing the business, ano yung why? What is my why? Okay, if our why is to provide decent and quality jobs para sa mga Filipino workers, then be legitimate, be ethical, and join PALSCON.
Yes. Yun ang pinaka-importante sa lahat. No? Join PALSCON. Kasi together, kaya naman natin ayusin ang ating mga negosyo nang walang inaapakang empleyado, walang pinapahirapang empleyado, and nakakapag-contribute sa nation building. So, napakaganda ng ating first episode kasi this is what we really want naman talaga. To further the cause of PALSCON, to advance it, and of course, to let the public know, ano ba talaga itong PALSCON? Ano ba talaga yung service contracting industry? And bakit ba hanggang ngayon pinag-uusapan ng 555 ang ENDO na hindi naman pala pinapractice sa PALSCON. So maraming salamat uli sa aking fellow PALSCONians, Lester, Enzo, Rhoda, Riza, and Adrian. Maraming salamat, and I hope sa ating pong mga viewers, marami po kayong natutunan. Sa aming mga workers, sana magtiwala po kayo sa mga PALSCON members. The same thing with our principals. PALSCON lamang po ang piliin ninyo para may peace of mind kayo. And of course, sa atin pong lahat ng mga nanonood out there, please stay tuned to PALSCON Speaks, the podcast. Marami pa po kaming mga topics na pag-uusapan about the service contracting industry. It's people, policies, and practices. We would also want to thank our sponsors, We have 7 a.m. studio. Maraming salamat for this very, very aesthetic studio. Also to Executive Genesis, thank you so much. To the people behind the Pascon Speaks, the podcast. We have Ma'am Aya, and the Secretariat of Pascon, and from the team of OneSource General Solutions Incorporated. As we close our very first episode, we leave you with this. Service contracting is not just about service. It is about people. It is not just about compliance. It is about integrity. And it is not just about business. It is about nation building. This is Palscon Speaks, your partner in understanding, your guide in compliance, and your voice in the industry. This has been Maricar Suarez, your host for the first episode of Palscon Speaks, the podcast. Thank you very much, everyone.
Our industry,
Palscon Speaks.
service contracting stories start today.
People, policy, practice.
Leading the professional way. Building the standard with every single stride. Integrity is flowing like a rising tide. We bridge the gap where the workforce meets the aim. PALSCON is the name. The leading voice for the industry's fame.
Philippine Association of Legitimate Service Contractors, the ultimate guide for the industry's factors.
We advocate for rights and professional growth.